Hi folks, it's Mal Emery here again. Hopefully you've enjoyed reading the blog in relation to how to create a $1 million automated referral cash machine. Acknowledgements. It's really important, both morally, legally, that I acknowledge those who have contributed in part to my success and the information presented here. So first and foremost, I must acknowledge Dan Kennedy, the great man, GKIC organisation, Bill Glazer, the late great Chet Holmes, and Breakthroughs International, Mark Jarman, Peter Sun, Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, T. Harvecker and Peak Potential, Scott Holman and BGD Inc., Jay Abraham of Abraham Group, Ryan Dice and Frank Kern, of course, courtesy of these great mentors and others I've inadvertently not mentioned. And continue on with that, I've promised to reveal to you 7 kick-ass strategies for sending your referrals absolutely through the roof. But let me remind you here that everybody tells me, and I've been doing this, helping people and running my own businesses for a long time, and everyone tells me the absolute best client, and I believe them and I agree with them, is a referral, a referred client. They don't seem to be difficult to sell to. In fact, they're enormously easy to sell to because they're predisposed to buy already because it's a referral. They don't seem to be too concerned about price, again, because it's a referral, and they don't seem to be so concerned. In other words, they're warm to the thought that they should do business with you once they're referred. So for every reason you can possibly think of. The cost, take cost for an example. The dearest thing we have to do in business is actually get a referral, get a client I should say. Yet here they come to you, well, virtually free, but I'm not advocating they should necessarily be free. I'm saying we should take all the free referrals we could possibly get, don't get me wrong, but I'd actually prefer to spend money and turn this into something you can actually scale and be reliable and predictable like any other media. But most people, where referrals are concerned, just get whatever they get. They don't actually have a system for making it happen, and that's what this is all about. That's what this blog has been all about to date. So let's get into it. There's 7 kick-ass strategies that I'm going to reveal here, and more than that in fact. Kick-ass strategy number 1, do what you do so well that people can't help to tell others about you. That's a Walt Disney principle, and it's still true to this day. Do what you do so damn well that they can't help but tell other people about you and what you do. It's been described as when people go to Disneyland, they then leave Disneyland and tell everybody about that experience and how incredible it was. And I've been there, and it is an incredible experience, there's no doubt about it, and I've told lots of people about what happened for me. But as the story goes, you leave there, you tell your friends about it, and then they take the money to the mouse. So that's the strategy applied by Disney himself. Kick-ass strategy number 1. Do what you do so well people can't help but talk about you. It's also called top of consciousness. The great Peter Drucker said the purpose of a business is to create a customer. And it's so true. Yet so many people aren't very good at creating a customer and, in fact, keeping them. This is another quote from Walt Disney, and here it is. Everyone's primary job is customer service. Now, I don't know about you. I went and bought my lunch today, and I can tell you they certainly did not understand, if they did, or even hear that comment that Walt Disney purveyed to his people. But everyone, I don't care if it's the accounts department, I don't care who it is, everyone is in reality in the customer service department. So, of course, what Walt Disney advocated is when you see, hear or meet a customer, all other duties, whatever you were doing at that time, are put on hold. And of course, Disneyland is a fantastic example that something has stood the test of time and broke all the rules for that matter when it was first created. The average business loses 15% of its customer base each year, and there's the source of that information. So what does that tell you? Well, not only do you have to find new clients, because the status quo doesn't remain the same, you also lose 15% of the clients you've got, on top of the fact that you need to create new ones. So in reality, the task is greater than you think it might be. So here's some other interesting sources of information and knowledge and statistics. So 68% of customers who stop buying do so because of poor or indifferent service. That's an incredible number, isn't it? 68%. 14% leave you because of unsatisfactory resolved disputes or complaints. 9% leave you because of price. Now, strangely enough, most people think that price is the big reason, when in actual fact it's very, very small. It's rarely price, in fact, yet most business owners think it's the most important thing. 5% go elsewhere based on a recommendation. 1% die. There you go. The bad news is most of those customers that leave you don't bother to complain. They actually don't bother to complain. You never know about it. They just suddenly disappear and you sort of wonder where the heck they've gone. So, magic moments culture. That's what Disneyland creates. They create a culture of magic moments. Again, you only have to go there to understand what I'm talking about. And that's what you should be creating in your business, so that you have top of consciousness. So when they think, I want your product or service, when a client asks a friend, or when a friend's at a barbecue and someone says, I need a marketing guy, or whatever it might be, I need help with my advertising, I need help with my online environment, whatever that might be, whatever service you have, you want to have top of consciousness in the mind of your client. So the first thing they do is they refer to you. But even more importantly, as you've learnt, and you're going to learn as I go on here, we actually want to have some say in that. We want to, in a sense, not leave it to chance and prayer. We actually want to rig it so our clients can't help but refer us. And of course, again, harping back, kick-ass strategy number 1 is the magic moments culture. Do what you do so well, people can't help to tell others about you. Now, just so you understand the difficulty of the task in front of you, when I'm in front of a room full of people and I say pizza, I ask people who they think of when I say pizza. And typically we get Domino's, we get Pizza Hut, and these days we get a couple of other more obscure ones, like maybe even Eagle Boys, or Crust is the newest one that gets mentioned to me these days. So, but when you get to about number 4, that's about all people could remember. About 4 particular companies on a given subject. I could have said it about beds, I could have said it about cars, I could have said it about rent-a-cars. We would have had the same statistic or close to it. Between 3 and 5 is all most people can think of in a particular category or industry that they can recommend, actually think of in a category. So what that tells you is, in a person's head, all they are capable of holding is 3 to 5 industries on a companies on a category or industry. So here's my point. In order that you replace one of them, and there's a limited number, you have to do something very special. That's the difficulty of the task, replacing, in my head, in your head, someone else's head, because we carry them around with us, someone else in your category or industry. You need to take them out to get you in. So there's the difficulty of the task, folks. So a great way to do this is to redefine your business from your client's perspective, and that is to treat your clients as if your client is the boss, which is what they are. Your client, your customers, or prospects are the boss, folks. Let's face it, it's the boss, the client, who pays all your bills, puts food on your table and clothes on your back. The boss, the client, who decides whether your business is going to succeed or fail. The client decides what car you drive, where you live, whether your kids go to a private school or not, and whether you have holidays every year or not. In fact, the boss decides the lifestyle you enjoy, the quality of retirement you get to have, and of course the legacy you get to leave to, well, your children, if you like. When you treat the boss well, the boss buys you everything you want them to buy you, but the boss will only reward you, that's sales, in the exact proportion to the way that you have treated them, the boss, that is. The boss is so powerful that they can fire everyone in your business or company, from the CEO down, and they do this by simply shopping with someone else. We've all seen it, haven't we? It's happened time and time again. It continues to happen as I see businesses close. Successful businesses 1 minute, multinational brand 1 minute, with sales exploding and gone the next. Now, do you want me to tell you exactly how close this is to home? I happened to go to a cafe that I owned 20 plus years ago. I bought this cafe for something like $135,000. I sold it for $385,000. The people that bought it off me, as I learnt, sold it for $550,000 some 12 years later after they bought it off me. And I saw a change of name and a change of colours on this cafe, and I popped in for lunch with a friend of mine, and I spoke to I said, who's the new buyer, or the new owner I should say, and believe it or not, I asked the question. I said, oh, by the way, how long have you had the business? 6 weeks. Can I ask you what you paid for it? Because I used to own this business. And he said, well, he splurted it all out. He said, I paid $68,000 for it. What this means, folks, is the boss had voted. The clients had voted. They'd stopped shopping with this business. They'd stopped going to this cafe, and they'd gone to someone else. So that's how powerful the boss actually is. From 550 paid for the business to selling it for 68,000. That was about 5 years later, by the way, if you're wondering. So there you go. That's how powerful the boss is, folks. Kick-ass strategy number 1, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. You've all heard it, but it's actually true. Today, of course, people are less tolerant. When my mum and dad used to shop at what was called the Weld Street Fish and Chip Shop most Friday nights of my childhood, they wouldn't have crossed the road or gone somewhere else for all the tea in China. But however, today, we won't give you that same opportunity. Someone like myself might give you a couple of chances. The Gen Ys, they sort of give you one chance. One lousy cup of coffee, one poor service, and they're gone. So, you only get one chance to make that good first impression, folks, so make it a very good one. So, here's a classic example. It's actually a true story, and it related to hiring an expert marketing guy, and in this case, in relation to improving a business that installs security systems. And the bottom line is, people where tradies are concerned, what's the sort of problems you get from tradies? Well, they fail to return phone calls. They're always late, or often late, when it comes to them turning up. I mean, we've all made phone calls and asked for people to get back to us where tradies are concerned, and I'm not suggesting for a moment all tradies are like this, but the survey showed that people were frustrated by the fact that tradies failed to return calls. They often turned up late. They often were a bit on the nose, by the way. Didn't look after their hygiene necessarily, come from one job to another, so their hygiene wasn't great. They often left a mess. Not everyone does, that's true, but again, others, certainly some of the tradies do, and they don't clean up after themselves. tended to treat her, the wife, as if she was dumb where all this is concerned, and no doubt the ladies can vouch for this. Wore shorts at half-mast with their bums hanging out, to be precise. Most often failed to identify themselves when they knocked on the door, and of course women are cautious when such things happen. Charged more than their quote, so they'd give you a quote, but it often went up from there. Often failed to finish on time and on budget. So this is an example of an organisation where a marketing guy was hired to determine what exactly was going on and how they could improve business. Well, here's the results. First, when the security company personnel installed a security system, they guaranteed to arrive on time, or it cost them money. So for every 5 or 10 minutes they were late, they paid an amount of money to the person they were going to do the work for. They dressed in a smart uniform that had the company name on it, and they also had trucks and things like that with the name of the company on it as well. They splashed on aftershave and deodorant in the car before they went inside. When the homeowner opened the door, the installer would hold up a pair of slippers and put them on to show that they're going to be very careful and make sure they don't spread dirt around the house. Carried a drop sheet into the home for the purpose of collecting and disposing of any mess, and when the homeowner opened the door, the installer would oil the doors, replace broken light globes, and reset clocks and microwaves and VCRs, but they don't exist anymore, do they, VCRs? But my whole point is they did a whole pile of things that had nothing to do with the installation of a security system. And of course this was wow factor. Washed the windows before the security stickers were placed on them. Cleaned the gutters when they installed the stuff on the roof. That's the light. When they actually up there on the roof, they took all the leaves out of the gutters and cleaned them. A few days later, a pensioner would arrive at the home of the recently installed system with a basket of fruit to see if everything was all right with the security system. Now, wouldn't it pay you to sit down and think about all the things you could do to create wow factor? Because here's the statistics. On average, this company received 13 referrals per installation, and people couldn't wait to tell their friends and relatives and people living nearby, their neighbours, about the experience they had. This is taking the money to the mouse, folks. It's blowing people away. But look at the formula. So the first thing is they interviewed past clients to find out what their fears, frustrations, wants and desires and needs were. And then they sat down and developed a system, reverse engineered, a system that created the wow factor with their clients. Now, I can only imagine what a saving it was to get 13 referrals per home. You might be sitting there thinking, oh, doing all those things costs money and time, but nothing compared to the cost of getting a new client. So again, very hard to create an argument against wow factor. So outrageous free outcome. Kick-ass strategy number 2. The welcome to the family pack. Now, the welcome to the family pack is something I've just created recently for my own childcare centre, and with a bit of luck it might have made its way into this PowerPoint because I do have a photo of it. But you know, my childcare welcome to the family pack, there's a hat, there's a shirt, there's a musical instrument, because we talk about how music is incredibly valuable in a child's education. Think Sesame Street and those sorts of things. There's a sticker for the car. There's a bunch of DVDs and CDs, all related to education. These are all free. They all come in a beautiful bag with the name of the centre on it. And there's also a booklet for the parents to help them understand what's going to happen while their child, and what's available for their child while being at that childcare centre. Now, a welcome to the family pack is something you give someone when they sign up, when they pay you money, Now, of course, mathematics control your ability to do this, but a doctor, a dentist, a financial planner, there's all sorts of industries. Someone that installs solar system, for example, a real estate agent, could easily afford, can the local deli justify and afford this strategy? No. This is a strategy that wouldn't work for them, but they could wow them, couldn't they? They could wow people when they arrived. There's an argument that it wouldn't work in a restaurant, but you could wow people in a restaurant, couldn't you? And the reason being is the cost of producing one of these. So there's another thing that's in the Welcome to the Family pack that you have to figure out. So the family would be your company. So in my case, it was Welcome to the Leap Start Family Childcare Centre. And yours would be related to your own business, what that might be. But there's something else in there, and there's mechanisms for helping people refer to you. Now, what a brilliant strategy. So number one, you get a Welcome to the Family pack, which is almost non-existent in this country. Yet I'm doing it, and I've found many online, or mostly in America. Trust me, guys, I'm a consumer, and the most I get when I buy a new car is the petrol tank filled up, or a T-shirt and a hat last time, because I bought my wife a Jag. That was the extent of the Welcome to the Family. Frankly, it's not good enough, folks. When you consider what you might spend on a Jag, for example, they could have done a lot more. And I assure you, it was insufficient to make me want to refer. So here we are. Here's some other welcome packs, Welcome to the Family packs, or WOW packages if you like. They get the Welcome to the Family box after they make a purchase. That's the important thing. Handed to them personally, or of course you could have them delivered, which is also an incredible wow factor to have them delivered. Again, this is way above what you expected to receive. Much more. That's the whole point. Much more than you expected to receive. So the advantage of having, there's 7 advantages for having a WOW pack. A Welcome to the Family pack. So it helps with client retention big time. And that's very important because of the cost of replacement. That's absolutely accurate, folks. So it helps with the client to stay, and it also means that you don't have to replace that client today. Now, the cost of replacement today has also gone up dramatically compared to what it used to be. So again, it helps with retention and helps with the cost of replacement. Why? Because of clutter and noise. There's so much clutter out there competing for the attention of your prospect, and that they see thousands of pieces of marketing per day. And the noise, you can just think about it for a moment on your emails, the amount of noise there is on your emails. You intend to come back and visit particular emails, but you very rarely do. So there's a consumption problem, which is noise and clutter. It's between you and your clients. So international research shows you need to spend 3 times as much money to get half the result with your advertising that you used to get. So the cost of replacing them is very, very high. Every business category is seeing more and more competition in their category every single day. So franchises are opening up right, left and centre. Competitors are popping up on the internet faster than you can literally blink in your category or industry. And of course, companies like Chemist Warehouse are a classic example of that. They're selling all sorts of things, and they're opening up all over the place, selling all sorts of competitive products. Here's what you need to think of a competitor as. A competitor is anyone who deals with your client in any way. So not just competing with you on what you sell and what service you provide to a client, but any money they spend, because it can only go away around so many times. And of course, the disposable income is also shrinking. Fewer and fewer people with the cost of living going up constantly, we're spending far more on our mortgages, we're spending far more on our children's education and food and necessities than we ever have in history. So that dollar isn't spreading as far as it used to. So here's what you have to think about it. Every single person out there, every single business owner is your competitor. So it helps with retention, helps with your relationship with the client because of the law of reciprocity. Now you can just imagine when they get a welcome to the family pack, the law of reciprocity kicks in. They're so grateful for what they've received. The natural instinct is to want to tell others about that and thank you in that appropriate fashion. So it's called the law of reciprocity. You're making a major deposit in their emotional bank account. So you can make a withdrawal from their real bank account. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the stuff can hang around visibly permanently. So what do I mean by that? Well, some of the material we put in our shock and awe, and some of the material, not shock and awe, I'm sorry, in our wow factor welcome to the family pack, hangs around. There's a whole bunch of things. The hat's not going to disappear. The music's not going to disappear. My mechanisms for response are not going to disappear. They're going to hand them out to friends, relatives, acquaintances and neighbours. So they hang around. The sticker on the car hangs around. So it's not here today, gone tomorrow. It actually hangs around. So another great reason to have a welcome to the family pack. I always put books, my information, my published books, in my packs because again, books hang around and books get handed around. So that's the sort of thing you can put in your welcome to the family pack. Certificates. This is an actual example of a potentially a dentist, as I understand it, and he particularly was helping the younger people, and he used to, depending of course on the spend, give the kids bikes. And you can imagine driving down the street, that little kid riding down the street, all his mates would want to know where he got his bike from. Well, can you imagine? He got it from the dentist. And do you think they didn't go back and tell their kids about that? So think of all the things you can possibly put in there. Certificates, which people get to display on their walls and things, again, look great and they hang around. So, number 5, you can include referral mechanisms. And that's exactly what I've included in the one for the childcare centre. So I'll show them to you in a moment. So here's some here, some certificates in relation to what they can hand out to friends to refer back to you. There's almost no industry. There's an example there of a music teacher giving away an hour, three 1-hour sessions, a certificate. Reiki classes, bodywork classes. You know, there's almost no industry that couldn't give someone some certificates in their welcome to the family pack, so they are instructed to give them out to their friends, relatives, acquaintances and neighbours. And these could be termed as bounce backs. So it forces conversation about you. So when they get something like this arrive on the doorstep or handed to them when they sign up, it forces conversation with their friends about you. Here is what you want them saying. You won't believe what Danny and Ali Halupka from Grant Sheds sent me. So Ali and Danny Halupka sell farm sheds. So they have a welcome to the Grant's farm sheds that they make available to people. And of course, it's got mechanisms in there for them referring other people who want farm sheds. And you know, farm sheds aren't cheap, ladies and gentlemen. So why wouldn't you have a welcome to the family pack? So that's exactly what you want them thinking. Your competitors will never do one of these. Great point. They'll never get round to it. They'll never want to spend the money. They'll create all sorts of argument as to why they shouldn't have a Welcome to the Family pack. Welcome to the Family pack is a game changer, an absolute game changer, folks. Remember, referrals are the absolute best clients you can get. So this is a game changer. So try and figure out how you can actually use one of these. Don't figure out why you can't. So 3 big advantages, though, of a Welcome to the Family box secrets. Number 1, the bigger the welcome box to the family, the better. So the more substantial it is, the absolute better it is. So I heard from Dan Kennedy from GKIC talking about, I think it was a financial planner that sends a box that's sort of 1 metre by 1 metre, and in that box there's pillows, 2 pillows. There's a bathroom, 2 bathroom robes, some earplugs and a few other things in there. And the whole story is you can sleep comfortably tonight knowing that we're looking after your finances. So it's very appropriate. The items in the Welcome to the Family box are themed. So here's secret number 2. The better the Welcome to the Family box is themed, the better. So try and make it themed that is congruent. So if you think about mine for my childcare centre, it was congruent with what it is we were doing at the childcare centre. Everything was themed. And number 3, kick-ass strategy number 3, put yourself in a position where you can spend the most. I mentioned Dan Kennedy and GKIC to you just a moment ago, and I've heard Dan say there's a few big mistakes he made, and one of them he clearly states is not being prepared to go negative to buy a client based on their lifetime value, whether that be repetition, the fact that they come to your restaurant often, or in my childcare they come daily, or you have great transaction value. Coached many real estate guys. I've just sold a property. My fee is $16,600. So that's called transaction value. Now, if I was wowed, and I was wowed to some extent, but not to the extent we're talking about here, that I can't wait to tell other people about this agent. All they've done is meet my expectation. They haven't exceeded my expectation. So what I'm getting at here is you've got to figure out how you can spend more than your competitors. Because the person in business who spends the most and is in a position financially to spend the most, it's called mathematics, wins first every time. And one of the big secrets is going negative. Another kick-ass strategy is a monthly newsletter or bi-monthly newsletter. And there's some really good tricks, which is again a great referral strategy. So, 8 compelling reasons to do a newsletter. Research shows that they hang around for at least a month. So newsletters don't get thrown out. They hang around for at least a month. So the chances of that sitting on a coffee table, a few people picking it up and reading it, and for the person you're trying to get to or send it to, reading it, greatly increased by having a newsletter. Now, I'm talking about a paper newsletter, not only online. I say do both. Do online newsletters and do offline newsletters. Newsletters can get passed around, so they send them and give them to people just like them who they hang around with, who are likely to be your customer. You get to make offers and covertly sell stuff in your newsletter. So it's not a blatant selling experience. It's covert. Sometimes you don't even sell at all. You get to showcase clients' case studies and testimonials in a newsletter. What a great opportunity that is. You get to acknowledge people who refer others to you in your newsletter. They love to hear about them being mentioned and their own name being said. A newsletter gets to act as a lead generator. So you can put lead generating in your newsletter, so you can actually get leads by putting out a newsletter. For lots of reasons, it's much, much more powerful than an e-zine. Well, there's almost no mailing arriving at our doorstep anymore. So the good news is that clutter has virtually disappeared. Also, our competitors are worried about the price of stamps going up. I'm not. I think it's a great thing, because now there's less and less competitors for those who use direct mail. So there you go. Send e-zines, send blogs, but send newsletters. Your top of consciousness in the mind of the reader. Again, they get read in the dark in a sense. Your competitors aren't sending newsletters, so you're the only one turning up. You've got absolute top of consciousness. What should and shouldn't you do or put in a newsletter? It shouldn't be just about your product or service. You love what you do, but your clients don't love what you do. That's not what their job is. But you're crazy about your product or service, but they're not going to be. It should include what people spend most of their time reading, and it's not fiction, non-fiction. Okay, so still the most popular books, as I understand it, in bookstores is cooking books and online. No surprises. You know, they're the sort of things they're interested in. Your newsletter, so you'd put recipes in your newsletter, wouldn't you? Your newsletter needs to be entertaining and include stuff about people and places, things they're interested in. So it's covert, in a sense, in terms of its selling, and it's not shameless in terms of trying to make a sale. Include recipes, crossword puzzles, games of the months, anything you can think of like that. A newsletter, of course, should include special offers, and that's easily done where your products and service are concerned. The best thing, of course, is to personalise your newsletter with a photo of yourself and maybe even a message from the editor. The name of the game where newsletters are concerned, and this applies whether it's online or offline, is to get read. It's readership. The number one reason an ad fails on TV or radio or in print or even on the internet is readership. Number one is readership. It's got to get seen and read. So here's an example of a newsletter. I picked this up from a friend of mine in the States who produces newsletter, and this pretty much covers everything you might want to see. This is a one-page newsletter. Okay, so it's card, and it's an oversized card, if you like, and you can see all these mechanisms here. There's the fruit pizza recipe. Here's the trivia quiz. Here's a call to action. $25 worth of free gas, and of course then there's some interesting information there that might be of interest to you. On the other page, of course, there's who the newsletter is coming from, and again the offers continued. It doesn't have to be 5 and 6 pages or 10 pages, although I have clients that send out extensive newsletters, full colour, gloss as well, but they're selling substantial items. But here's a cheap way to still do a newsletter that stands out by the rest. It's a self-mailer, doesn't need to go in an envelope, so it doesn't need to cost you a fortune, that's for sure. Kick-ass strategy number 4, two-step lead generation free report model. I use this, of course, on my website. You should use it everywhere you can. Use the two-step model. Educate and then sell, not the other way around. So, why does this strategy work so well? Well, most people naturally feel uncomfortable and awkward when making a referral. It's not their job, ladies and gentlemen, to sell your products or services. That's your job, but they feel uncomfortable about it because there's a risk involved in doing that. So to some, making a referral is too aggressive, and most people are, well, organically uncomfortable with the thought of being that aggressive to recommend you or talk about you. They are much more comfortable referring to information rather than referring to you. So if you gave them some mechanisms to hand to clients or ways to refer people to them, they'd be much more comfortable. And the more that's education or information, the more comfortable they'd be than with just blatant selling. It's much more natural behaviour for them to refer to information. You know, let's face it, we live in the information age, folks. It's much more natural for people to tell people about, and it happens every day of our lives, doesn't it, about something they've heard about or read about, and where you can get information on that topic or subject. You know, I've got a problem called plantar fasciitis at the moment. I got it from being on my feet for 20 plus hours over 3 days running an event. And, you know, all sorts of information's been sent my way as to how you treat plantar fasciitis. It was all information, but it led me somewhere, and I've purchased several products because of that information. This is how it works, folks. So information is far more powerful, far more natural for us to refer to information than just to the seller. The two-step model is the ultimate positioning with a prospect. Yeah, you know, because they were referred and they gave me this information and I read the information because I had the problem, I didn't hesitate to purchase because of the positioning of the prospect in my mind. It changes the sales process completely. Instead of you trying to sell and seek them, they are now coming to you, and there's an incredible advantage you get when that happens. In other words, you switch from being the hunter to the hunted. And that's the best sale, of course, you can ever make, isn't it? A free report allows the referrer to substitute information to the referee to rather than a person, place or business. So again, you get to substitute information instead of referring to a person, a place or a business, and again much more powerful. The whole key to this model is it's better and easier for a referrer to refer information about you and your products and services than it is for them to actually refer directly to you. So there's your key. Provide your clients, your wowed clients, with information and knowledge that's interesting to their friends and people like them, so they can refer that as information that ultimately leads to you. So here's a classic example of some clients of mine. This is Bernie Krychek. We created what's called a shock and awe program for Bernie, and what happens is, here's what happens. People are talking to their neighbours, talking to their friends, and they say, I want to sell my house. Who can you recommend? Can you recommend a good agent to me? Well, guess what? They happen to have some of Bernie's material that they can hand to those folk for them to hand to their friends and relatives and neighbours, that they can then read and find out why Bernie is the agent they'd want to list with. So look at the title: The Serious Property Seller's Guide to Selling Your Home at Top Dollar. The 9 big costly mistakes people make when selling real estate and how to avoid them. That's exactly education and information. That's exactly what they're looking for. Here's another example. I want to start a home-based business and I'm not sure what to do. Can you recommend anybody? Now, this is another client where we created a marketing package for them, and it's how to be a highly in-demand wedding planner. Discover how you can become a successful wedding planner. So that's a business opportunity. Again, you're giving them education and information, but it's all pre-done so they can easily hand this information to people. I'm looking to buy a motorhome. This is a client of mine, John Jeffries. Can you suggest someone I can trust that I can talk to? Well, we created this marketing system for John, and of course the 7 big most costly mistakes consumers make when buying a motorhome and how to avoid them. Can you see the theme here, folks? It's dealing with the fears and frustrations, the wants and desires of needs that someone who wants to buy a motorhome, someone who wants to get into business in this case, and someone who wants to get a real estate agent to sell their property. So it's education, it's information, and it's provided by your client to their friends and relatives and neighbours. Can you recommend someone who builds a kit home who you know that do a great job? And here it is. This is a client of mine. The 7 big costing mistakes unprepared kit owners make when they buy and build a kit home. And another example, do you know anyone you can trust that installs wardrobes? There's another client. The Expert Builder's Guide to carefully choosing the right wardrobe and shelving specialist. Again, this is education and information in a package, in a box, if you like, that you can provide to your prospects, to your clients, to give to their prospects and friends. So how it all works. I find I'm not getting the thing done. So, of course, this is relating to time management. So this is the conversation that could be had. I'm finding I'm not getting things done. I want to get things done. I'd really like to talk to someone about time management. Can you recommend anybody? And okay, this is a marketing system developed by us, and it's 17 secrets to time management most of the world high achievers use to create their massive success. Again, this is education. I'm really starting to show my age. I want to do something about my wrinkles. Can you suggest someone you know who you can trust? Again, this is a client of ours. 5 lifestyle mistakes that may age you prematurely. What are they? You know, this is called curiosity. You want to know and how to avoid them and discover a younger you. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to know what these mistakes are that you might be making that are aging you, and then how to avoid them. One of them is smoking, of course, and drinking too much. You may very well need more than one free report. Now, this is a client, and they deal with all sorts of things like acne, hair removal, skin redness, sunspots, sagging skins and jowls, and wrinkles. So you may need specific information on specific niches within the niche of what it is you do. All this falls under the auspices of health and beauty, more or less, but you might need information on each and every single one of the things that you sell to the marketplace. So which one should you prepare first? Well, it's called low fruit. So where you make most of your money in your business, because historically 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of your products, so you create the education information to include in your welcome to your family pack, for example, or whatever it is you does, based on where you make most of your money. Okay, so it's called moving to where the money is. So don't try and create necessarily information education in everything you do. Just go to where the money is initially in your business. This model works really well on the internet, of course. The internet's full of free reports and free advice and education and knowledge. That's exactly what it does. In fact, that's Google's whole ethos, to be the best in the world at providing education and information. And of course, what is Google worth these days? I think last time I read 527 billion. So if it's good enough for Google, it's got to be good enough for us, right, folks? Here's a particular system I did. This was a TV advertisement that took them to a website, and you're just moments away from discovering 7 proven, actionable, highly effective wealth secrets that have made millions of dollars from me and my clients who have paid me for my advice. So this is what they get when they go there. It's a free report. Wealth secret number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is a product I took to TV, folks, and it worked very, very well. I took them from TV to an online environment where they got the free report. And of course, they gave me their email address to get that. The big advantage with this model is not only stimulates referrals, it stimulates consumption. So they read more of it. They've got more time in this scenario. They're more interested. It's come from a source that they trust. And as a consequence, they're more likely to consume it. Kick-ass strategy number 5, create a toolbox of referral weapons to give to your clients to refer people to you. So I've showed you some of the things that might be in it, but you might put books, you might put free reports and e-zines and CDs and DVDs and gift vouchers to your clients to refer other people to you. I call them weapons. So preferably they should be, where possible, well, the shock and awe system that I showed you, that is the examples I gave you today, for your clients to give to their friends who are in fact your prospects. Preferably, where possible, it should be lead generation, and you shouldn't be just trying to sell out of the gate. Just educate and provide knowledge. Most of these weapons are deployed after the sale, folks. So you give them to your clients once they've had a great experience, and that's why you want them to have the wow factor, so they're eager to refer, but more importantly, give them mechanisms so they can actually refer and make it easy for them to refer. There's your secret, make it easy for them to refer. So here's where I've made it easy for a client of mine. His name's Stephen Gillespie. He sells investment properties, and in the wow factor, welcome to the family box, is a letter that tells the client of yours, of his in this case, how to actually refer clients to him. So I'll just read it for you. When you're next talking to friends and relatives and they find out you have bought an investment property with a great rental return at wholesale prices, tens of thousands of dollars less than what you would normally pay, then they often want to know more about that and who you did the deal through. So what I've done is put together half a dozen information packs together for you in a plastic bag. The package reveals how everyday ordinary folk like yourself and your friends can safely buy 7 properties in 7 years, retire early with financial freedom and peace of mind. Feel free to carry them around in the boot of your car, leave them at home, or keep them in the office. Anytime someone has a conversation with you about your investment properties, you can simply give them one of these. It will tell them everything they need to know to get started. And as a friend or relative of yours, I'd be only too happy to have a cup of coffee with them at any time. So again, don't leave anything to chance. Do you think there was one of these instructions in my childcare Welcome to the Family Pack? There absolutely was. It told them exactly what to do. And it goes a step further, if you like. A script to follow for Steve Gillespie's clients to use on their friends. So things are going really well for us these days. We've managed to really get ahead by purchasing 2 investment properties with a great rental return at wholesale prices, tens of thousands of dollars less than what you would normally pay. I've got to tell you, I didn't know who to trust. I was so glad I ran into Steve Gillespie from Your Property Buddy. Steve explains everything step by step and marked out our pathway for us to get completely out of debt in the next 7 to 10 years, all the while building $1 million property portfolio. By the way, Steve has shown hundreds of people how to use the equity in their property to get out of the mortgage rat race and safely build a sizable property portfolio quickly and easily. Anyway, Steve's got this great information pack that reveals how everyday people like you and I can safely buy 7 properties in 7 years, retire early with financial freedom and peace of mind. Why don't you just have a read and see what you think? If you like it, if you like what you read, simply call Steve. He'd be happy to have a cup of coffee with you and answer any questions. So again, folks, I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm actually giving them a script. So I'm not actually telling the client what I've included and why I've included this information in and given this to them, but I've actually then given them a script that they can use when they're talking to their friends and relatives. It's leaving nothing to chance, folks. Kick-ass strategy number 6, special client referral events. These happen often where you're invited to a special event for a client, and there's a couple of really important tricks when doing this that make it work better and better. And of course, one's not to be blatantly selling, isn't it? So 11 tips. Begin with the end in mind and have a clear understanding of what you're trying to achieve. So at the end of the night, at the end of the event, what is it that you're wanting to achieve? Is it to get their names and addresses, to show a serious expression of interest in what you have to offer? What is it exactly? To sign up for your program, to begin your chiropractic course with you, whatever it might be. That's exactly how chiropractors often sell their programs. It's with an event. And you go in there, there's lots of people in there, they're talking about the problems associated with your spine. At the end of that event, you get a chance to book in to see the chiropractor to find out exactly how your spine is. So again, that's an example of this. But begin with the end in mind, one of the greatest secrets you'll ever learn, and then reverse engineer your whole event to achieve that outcome. It's great if you have a theme for the event. So, again, theme it. Obviously, a chiropractor would theme it around chiropractic. Rule of 4 to 1. If you invite 100 people, about 25 people will turn up, folks. This is a statistic I got. I can't remember where, some years ago. But there you go. Make it compulsory to bring a friend and make it easy. So the best thing you can do is get husband and wife there, isn't it? Or get them to bring a friend or relative along, which, again, they do the recruiting for you so you don't have to. And your event gets more and more people in it. Years gone by, I used to make it, $49 to come to an event, $97 to come to an event, and just another $3 to bring a friend. And of course, everyone said, "Oh, it's only going to cost, $100, and I can bring 2 people." So what they did is they recruited people to come to my event. Great strategy. Make your audience feel at home very, very early, folks. Make them welcome, make them feel happy, like you would in your own home, so to speak. Provide seating if presentation exceeds 20 minutes. People get tired standing up, so just make sure you have seating if it goes beyond that. Select the right venue and the right guests as far as who you have there. The venue is important, that it does what you need it to do. Music and lighting are the cheapest and most effective tools virtually you can ever have to set the mood. So use music and use good lighting. If you're going to feed them, well, canapes is what I normally do to my evening events. Make it something they can use their hands for with napkins, etc. So it's no big deal to have a feed. Get your suppliers to sponsor the event or present at the event. This way they can help you with the costs. So here's some typical organisations: health and beauty, dental, chiropractic, that use events very, very well to sell their products and services. At the back of the room, it's what Dan Kennedy calls a Tupperware party. They're coming along, they're having a drink of champagne, but they finish up buying a pile of stuff. So they're coming along, they're eating your canapes, they're having a good time, they're getting education, they're getting what it is they're looking for. But ultimately, of course, they're spending money with you, and it's a question of maths and psychology. So it can just be a client appreciation event with little or no selling. So once upon a time, a client of mine took his clients on a go-kart venture to the movies. In fact, I've done that myself. So it can just be an appreciation event. You don't actually have to do any selling at all, but it really helps with referrals. Kick-ass strategy number 7, joint ventures. These are very, very powerful. They're also not easy to do. And the actual worst thing about a joint venture is your joint venture partner. So what I've always advocated for years in my joint venture package is that you do all the work for them and you leave nothing to chance. So there's a host and then there's a parasite. You are the parasite, they are the host, so you need to do everything for the host. Be on the lookout for centres of influence. So not all joint venture partners are the same. You need to choose them very carefully and choose the very best based on their centre of influence, how likely people are to listen to them, and do everything for them. Here's a classic example of where I had an event, some said my best ever, called Fast Track to Millions. These were emails that I provided to my friends in the industry that sent out an offer to their list to invite their clients to my event. Now here's the catch. I wrote those, and then they critiqued them and decided what worked, and then they ultimately decided what would go in them, and they were always welcome to buy their own, to write their own, but it didn't stop me from writing it for them to make life easy for them. So where your joint venture partners are concerned, do as much as you possibly can for them so they don't have to do it. List swap. This is something that goes on quite a lot in the industry. We swap our lists with each other when there's a congruency with each other's clients. Another great model is endorsed mailing. So you mail to your list and endorse someone. And of course, with me, you've got to do what you say, and no lying, cheating, and stealing is what I say. So you'll be very careful about who you endorse. We all do. It's a referral, isn't it? So that's another great model, and a joint venture model. Why does this work so well? Because someone's paid a lot of money and have built a valuable list, and they have a reputation with that list. And if they then recommend you, it's a perfect referral model. It's a kick-ass strategy, ladies and gentlemen. The very best model is to drive to a special free report because response rates go up. So this is tying it all together in a sense that, you know, the best model is for the joint venture partner to offer a free report, free education to their clients on your behalf. Here's an example of a website that I used to send clients to that my joint venture partners would send out to their list, and it takes them through a three-step process. They came to the original website, which said, but wait, I have something more for you, and then but wait again, until finally they got the DVD and the CDs mailed to them. And it didn't upsell them, it was all free. So put them into a lead generation funnel. That's called a funnel, ladies and gentlemen. So I always have a joint venture agreement. It's a simple one-page thing, and it keeps people honest, folks. You know, it's not really a legal document in a sense. It's a joint venture agreement, so you both know exactly what you're going to do to make this thing fly, and it's clarity is what it really is. The foundation of a great referral system, we're almost through, folks, is testimonials. So you've got to have great testimonials, folks. Testimonials are the ultimate proof of what you say is true and the most believable. So a really good referral system has really good testimonials and case studies. So the ultimate social proof, that's what it is. If you want to create a world-class referral machine, you must give serious thought and attention to testimonials.
Hi, my name's Greg Messer. I've got two businesses, Quality Rural Kit Homes and Fixed Price Granny Flats in Sydney. I met Mal and Ian through Street Smart Marketing about 3.5 years ago. I did the $1 Million Makeover. My business completely changed through that process. We've gone from turning over $800,000 a year to $4 million a year, and this year it's February and we've already done that, got that in the pipeline. So business has completely changed for me. I was able to come up with an outrageous guarantee. I've got a lot of videos on my website, and I'm completely branded as the expert in Sydney in my market, and the competitors have just been left for dead. So I've got to tell you that the whole process through Street Smart Marketing with Mal and Ian has been absolutely life-changing, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. And yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, just do it, because it'll change your life. Thank you.
So that was Greg Messer from Quality Kit Homes and Granny Flats, and he had some enormous success, created a marketing system for him, turn over $8,000 a year to turning over $4 million per annum. And then when I met with him at an event of mine, I said, how are things going, Greg? And he said, well, mate, I'm 7 million, and it's only I think it was February or March. He said, I'm on track to have my best year yet. And that's Greg giving a great testimonial, and that's what you need your clients to do.
G'day, I'm Danny Haluppi from Grant Sheds in South Australia. Along with my wife Alison, we've been high-paying clients of Street Smart Marketing for over 7 years now, and what a ride it's been. We just had 2 record months of sales in a row, and as a result, we've had to increase our production staff by over 100%, and on top of that we had to increase installation crews by more than 200%. We also put more staff on in the office to do some of the work I used to do, so that I could work on the business rather than in the business like I used to do for the last 25 years.
So that's Danny Halupka from Grant Sheds. Probably came to me probably 6-7 years ago. They were doing $1 million a year when they joined up. Well, they actually do in excess of $1 million a month now, using the marketing systems that I created for them and with them. Another great story. So the bottom line is what clients say about you is far more important than what you say about you. So any great referral system has tons and tons, preferably lots of testimonials and case studies like the Danny Halupkas and the Greg Messers. So again, testimonials, they can just be written. Every format in every media is what I'm talking about here. So use print, use video, use copy, use everything you possibly can. John Jeffries rang me up and he said, Mel, you promised me that it would take a year to get this system working correctly. Well, we just had our best 3 months in a row. We've gone from $500,000 to $600,000 a month to $1 million a month, and this fellow, of course, was selling motorhomes. So again, I created a marketing system for John. So here's marketing for one of my own products. All these are written testimonials. So you can't have enough testimonials, folks. The more, the better. Putting all the pieces together and building the actual foundations of a great referral system. So let's just have a quick look at that. We're nearly finished now. So putting all the pieces together. It all starts with happy clients, advocates of what it is you do. So wow factor is the secret there. You need to adopt a culture of a referral driven business. So your staff, everyone associated with your organisation needs to understand the reason they do anything is in order to get a referral. And for that to happen, you need to wow clients in every way possibly you can. So of course, secret to this is the leader of the company needs to inform everybody in that company that it's a referral driven business. Best business you'll ever get, and probably the cheapest business you'll ever get. You must build the foundations of a referral driven business. Do what you do so well people can't help but talk about you. Adopt the wow factor principles in your business that we've discussed today. A newsletter is the foundation of a great referral system. Create weapons and tools that your clients can refuse, called mechanisms, to refer others to you. Create a welcome to the family box and use them. Your staff and your clients need to buy into the fact that you're a referral culture. Create and deploy free reports, CDs, DVDs, blogs, books, vouchers, shock and awe's, all the education information that ultimately leads to them purchasing from you. Figure out how you can thank them and reward clients who refer others to you. One of the worst things you can do is not simply acknowledge someone when they refer to you. That's a big no-no, folks. At the very least, pick up the phone. Even if you don't send them a gift, pick up the phone and thank them. Write them a letter. That's another great thing. Write a card, send them a card, and just say thank you. So the worst thing you can do is ignore that and people just suddenly stop referring. That's why. Identify customers, clients, patients, and even staff who are likely centres of influence. By centres of influence, I mean someone able to get you the result and help you get the outcome you're looking for. Test, measure, and manage the whole process, of course, and plug the whole thing into your marketing funnel and matrix. That's one of the secrets. It just plugs in like every other media and everything that you do. So there you have it, folks. The $1 Million Automated Referral Cash Machine in a box. How to get all the clients you want, obeying you like a heart surgeon, paying you what you want, and doubling, even tripling, your profits easier than you thought possible. Bye for now. Mal Emery here.